Hi there, welcome to this taster lecture session for BSc in Business Analytics at Southampton Business School. My name is Libo Li, I'm a lecturer in Business Analytics. The topic for today, data-driven business using analytics. The main objectives for today is that we're going to demonstrate how analytical methods could be used in business decision making. And we're trying to demonstrate a basic working knowledge of technologies, especially IT artifacts, which are specifically designed for business analytics problems. In addition, we'd also like to raise your awareness on data privacy and related issues when you develop your business. Please bear in mind that while these are the objectives for this particular session, it's also quite vital and important objective we would like you to achieve as part of the learning outcome or learning goal from our program throughout the 3 year of the whole program of the study. So let's start with an example. Think about what is one of the most favorite or most popular sports in the world, football. Or if you speak a little bit different kind of English, it's soccer. And many people have their own favorite club. And have you ever think about what's the life like if you own a football club, being a customer, or being a fan, or being a player? How does it look like? This is actually a quite interesting subject in terms of business, and it might be interesting to investigate this using the glasses of business people, for example, using analytical approaches. And here are some of the reasons why is that. So my dear friend, when was the last time you entered a football game? And how much did you pay for that? Here's one example at one of the famous football clubs where you realize that for their games, they're priced at different period in time, and depending on where you sit, the prices are rather different. This is one of the reality we will realize. And from a business point of view, this makes sense. For example, different people have different valuations, meaning that some people are willing to pay for a higher price, some people are not. And we also have fixed number of seats within the stadium, meaning that we need to plan this carefully so that we can make some money, and we need to rather plan the price or price the seats in a really clever way so that we can make more money. We need to determine what prices to offer and when. Also, how many products to sell at each price. What percentage of the seats should be, let's say, priced at £100, while the others the lower prices. So what do we usually do at a rather high level is that we use a revenue management system where we will be able to input product information, for example, how many seats in total, the number of different prices we intend to give, and based on the historical data about the booking, we can make the forecast. Because this particular football game will probably not be the only game we ever had, so we have a bit idea about from the past how many people or what's the probability that certain customer is willing to pay for a certain price, so that we can optimize our decisions to maximize our revenue. So this allows us to place the booking limits over different priced seats. For example, some of the more expensive seats will have less available seats, while a good number of median or low price seats will have significant numbers which are available to the public. So that the customer could book through the internet, the call centers, or via agents to make the sales. So here we use an example for the football game, but we also can have any other examples about, for example, in airlines where we have the seats are limited, hotels where the rooms, the number of beds are limited, and we do not limit this into a physical setting because you can also sell virtual access. For example, people nowadays prefer to watch game online, and based on the resources, based on the servers bandwidth, we also need to limit the number of passes we give to ensure the quality of the service. This is another consideration we have about the revenue management systems. So this is one of the areas we typically look when we price tickets. On the other hand, after the game, you're happy with the game, or you might not be happy with the game, but the life of the fan lives on. So one of the things we might think about is whether you're a loyal customer or not. Some of you own a season pass for a football club or for any other kind of sport. So you like the brand and you're willing to continue to pay for that. And this is important for the company or for the club in the sense that your brand loyalty is important, your support, your sentiment, customers are important resources for them. They don't want you to turn into a fan to the other clubs. On the other hand, of course, you're likely to make some purchases as the customer. For example, if you look at one of the online shops for the local club here, people might buy things for themselves, for their kids, babies. They might buy accessories, souvenirs, things, and so on. So based on what people purchase, we can also try to make sense of what's happening with our customer, or in other words, try to understand the customer behavior based on their historical data. A typical approach is that we can infer associations among the co-purchased products. For example, if the husband bought a jumper for himself, he might also be nice enough to buy one for his wife. Also the other way around. We don't really have any directions over here. If you buy a scooter, which might have a logo or limited edition from this particular club, you might also be thinking about buying a helmet. These are just one of the few recommendations. How do we generate these recommendations? Well, while some of them naturally make sense, or let's say we use our common sense knowledge, more of them we can discover from database. So one of the things is that we can look at the large database, which contains the transaction of the different products. So we knew what have been bought together. So and what are the frequent purchases or the frequent patterns, so that the next time if a customer purchases product A, we can recommend product B, just in case they're unaware of. So this is another value where we look at the transactional data. Another bit is that you watch the game, you might take some photos, even videos. You might share this with your friends, and you might post it on social media, whatever kind of social media. And you might post your opinion, your rating, things and so on to share your idea about it. So this is a random post I found, and I just cleared the name of the football club just for the time being. So is this kind of behavior helpful in a sense? Probably yes. Why? Because we can gather what we call social media data and conduct the sentiment analysis using social listening tools. So this sounds a lot of terminology, but just let me explain to you in a minute. So social listening tool is kind of tool which listens to what's going on social media. They typically gather the data from social media about what people say about certain things. In this case, different football club. For example, here there's a case study conducted by a social listening tool called Brandwatch a few years ago, where they were able to listen on the social media, and based on what people post, they are able to give an idea about the polarity of the post, whether they're negative posts or they're positive posts. If you say something good about the brand, if you like the club, it's something positive. If you don't like it, if you're not happy with the performances, you write something negative. So this allows you to have an overview about the sentiment over different topics, especially in this case, different football clubs. On the other hand, you might not only be interested whether they're positive or negative, but what actually they say. So similarly, you can generate word cloud by analyzing the text data which they post in social media. Here in the word cloud, the larger the font, the more frequent people talk about these names, so they become aware what are the most popular topics. This case study was done a few years ago, so probably some of these keywords are no longer that popular now. Maybe not. What do you think? if people are studying your transactional data, your tickets to the game, and your social media posts, you should be worried about your price. Everyone does. Companies nowadays try to make your records anonymized, or let's say make sure you don't really get identified individually, so that you can try to preserve your privacy in a way. Typically what they do is that instead of showing your name, they will replace your name with identifiers such as customer ID and erase or code some sensitive information. In that case, we managed to protect your data primarily. However, some experts were able to show that this is not enough. One example is Netflix. The company used to release data about people's preference over different TV and movie episodes. And of course, they removed who likes what and who watched what. However, some experts still pointed out that although individual information were somewhat coded in a way, we are still able to re-identify these potential customers or these people, since their individual information might not be available from Netflix dataset, but their information might be available somewhere else. You might just accidentally provide your preference over the movie, TV episode, things and so on over Netflix, while somewhere else as well, where your information about yourself is public, so that people can make cross references, so they know that's you. You're the one in the data set. In reality, companies should be aware of this kind of situation and try to use different approaches. For example, data protection policies to comply with GDPR or data protection laws. And while we make good value, we're trying to create value from the data set, we should also be aware that we should be able to protect the privacy of other people. Another thing, of course, is that so far we talk about customers and the privacy of the customers. Managing your stuff is also important. We need to care about our employees within the company. The players, for example, the trainers, the coaches, everybody. Players are expensive, you pay them good money, and you're running a multi-million dollar business, multi-million pound business, multi-million euro business. And you need to work around the logistics, because you don't just play 1 or 2 games, you play a whole season. Sometimes you participate in more than one type of league. And you need to plan this in a rather scientific way, to think about the schedules, to think about the matches, the training, and the recovery of your player if they injure. We're all human, we're not robots. Even robots need maintenance. We need to think about different approaches to help us make the planning. For example, evidence has shown that already in real life, some football club or some football league already are using optimization linear programming techniques, which allows you to make a scientific planning that are fair and economical for all teams. And being able to forecast the different outcomes, we can make scientific plannings so that we can care about the well-being, both for the players, but also for the other stakeholders. And we need to think about in reality how the planning would go, how these games would actually work out, and then you can make the plannings accordingly. Similarly, we can also think about computer vision and deep learning technologies, where we use text, numerical, but also image data, try to understand what's going on the court, so that we can have a better understanding about the players, for the coaches, but also the trainers as well. These are also very interesting techniques currently we cover, which could benefit to the business of your club. So overall, my take-home message, the first thing is your techniques and your data are vital for a business, not only in one single aspect, but overall in marketing, in management, in operations, they are all important. We need to think about data-driven business thinking, and it's a kind of thinking that can help you to make informed decisions other than from gut feeling. Another thing, of course, is that we need to comply with the regulations and to respect the privacy of your customer. All right, so I hope this gives you a bit idea about what we do, and feel free to join us if you're passionate about business solving using analytics, and if you're interested in working with the academics from COMSIS, my excellent colleagues who are doing top-notch research in OR, operation research, and management science or analytics in general, please do come join us. If you're interested in knowing what we do, or at least what my colleagues do in COMSIS, feel free to visit the link below. Similarly, the idea of this taste session is that we cover a lot of topics where we do in different modules, and in case of you have any questions, feel free to contact me. At the moment when this taster session is recorded, I'm not only the lecturer, but also I'm the module lead. So thanks for letting me know if you have any queries for the analytical, or let's say the academic part of our program. Thank you for watching. See you soon.